Hi everybody, Bearded Rogue here, and this is a video that I mentioned I might record in my Origins videos. This isn't really an Origins video, it's much more of a product review or a commentary on a product that I used while I was at Origins. Origins just happened to be the first convention that I went to where I got to test it. And so today I'm talking about the BitBox Mobile. I have my BitBoxes, as you can see above me, storing a whole bunch of games, and I'm just overjoyed at the BitBoxes that are in my shelf. They've allowed me to consolidate my games down to a much smaller space. It emptied 3 complete shelves, and meant that most of my shelves now are not even full, or over full, as it were. So it's made a huge difference in my collection. The mobile, on the other hand, I hadn't gotten a real stress test in on it yet. It's really good for taking some games, putting them into it, carrying them out to the car, carrying them from the car to the game store or the person's house you're playing at, carrying them back to the car, and then carrying them back into your house, into your collection. I'd say that if that's what you plan on doing with it, that this is one of the best solutions I can think of. For small trips like that, fantastic. Absolutely zero complaints, nothing bad that I can say about it. It's phenomenal for that use. It's semi-waterproof. It's not completely waterproof, but the cardboard exterior does resist soaking in water. It does resist pulling in water. It won't get soaked. It's sturdy. It carries a lot of games, and more efficiently than a lot of other solutions that I've seen, like Kajan cases or IKEA bags or anything like that. You can definitely carry more games in this for that kind of a purpose than you can in one of those solutions. So let's talk about sturdiness. So what I did is I brought this to Origins with all of my prototypes in it. So 6 different prototypes. And I brought it as my personal item on my flights. So I did not check this. It wasn't in checked baggage. It doesn't seal. So I wouldn't advise doing that. You can't make sure that this stays closed, and if this flap comes open, the whole thing can come open. That being said, for a personal item, it's really easy to keep this flap closed. Like, it doesn't open on its own all the time or anything. It sits flat. The handle here keeps it closed. I will say it fits easily into overhead bins. It also fits very easily under the seat in front of you on an airplane. Absolutely no problems there. Like, nobody even questioned it as a personal item. It wasn't too big for any of the airlines that I flew, and I ended up flying 3 different ones over the course of that. Got no problems with it at all. There's a little bit of scuffing on the corners and stuff like that from just general usage at this point, but the wear and tear on this is entirely preferable to wear and tear on my board game boxes or wear and tear on baggies. There's absolutely nothing structurally wrong with this, and I took it on a plane, carried it around for almost an entire week around a convention wherein I walked over, I don't even remember how many steps, 80,000 steps, I think it was, finally all told, almost 90,000 steps, and never had any kind of issue with it at all. It's very durable. If you're the carry it from the car to game day back to your collection type person, this thing is going to last you indefinitely. You would probably have to, like, purposefully damage it to cause problems. So that's a really big plus. Really, really happy with that. Inside of this guy right here, we have the rules tray here, the rules holder. that holds boards and rule books and stuff like that. This had one minor problem at one point in that this, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but there's this top flap here that folds up, and it's actually held on with tape. I actually managed to get something jammed in it that caught behind it and kind of pulled that open. I was able to reattach it with no problems, and like as you can see, I can put all of my stuff in here. This is one board and then 3 folders full of cell sheets and rules booklets and all sorts of stuff. So more stuff than you would have with your average games. And then the thing itself held up just fine. Just a little bit of extra pressure to reattach that lip, and I was good to go for the entirety of the convention. So the other thing is all of these mini storage containers work really, really well, and while it's worn off a little bit, this section is dry erase. So you can wipe off all of the stuff that you've written on there really easily to reassign what's in what. That's really cool. So I had no problems telling what was in which thing and clearing it off later on. I only brought my prototypes with me, so it's not anything that you're going to recognize probably as far as what's inside of them all, but you know, for some of them I was able to subdivide the inside of the box to help set up and keep things straight, which really helped me with pitching games. Others are really others of my games are really small, and so like my Fire in the Library game, I actually have 2 copies of the game in here, not counting the scoreboard. So these things carry a lot. In a good way. Very happy with what can be carried inside of it and everything like that. So I think it has adequate space. I think it definitely has adequate durability to be your primary prototype carrying case at a convention. As I said, it's plane friendly. It'll fit in overhead compartments. It will fit under seats. It never gave me any issues with that. You can customize it, as I've started doing with wonderful little stickers here, to make it more your own and make it more identifiable as yours. Nobody else is carrying anything like this. If you say, hey, I'm looking for my cardboard briefcase, there's not a single person on Earth who is going to misunderstand what it is you're talking about once they know that this exists. That's pretty cool, all things told. So, my one critique of the entire system, of the entire thing, and I ended up finding a solution for it, and I'm going to share that. But my one critique is that you can get so many games in here that it can become unbelievably heavy. So I have 6 games in here, plus cell sheets, rule books, a set of poker chips, and various other things. So it's not a small amount of stuff. The only way to carry this guy right now is this little handle up top, briefcase style, one-handed. That's just fine when you're transporting it from one table to another, or from just one room in the convention to another, actually. However, my hotel was not quite a mile away. It was 0.8 miles. And that lugging it from my hotel to the convention center every day was not fun. I quickly started finding ways to leave it with friends who were closer to the convention center so that I did not have to make that trip. I really found myself missing a shoulder strap at times because it does occupy one of your hands. So if you're trying to do anything with your phone, like look at directions, or trying to coordinate meeting somebody else at a convention via text message, for example, one of your hands is completely lost to you to carry this thing. That can be mitigated. There's plenty of places for you to set it down. As I said, it's really durable, so there's no danger just setting it down wherever you're at. Sidewalk, carpet, doesn't matter. Setting it down isn't a problem. But it does add up over time. It is heavy if you fill it accordingly, and it can hold a lot. So you're going to want to fill it because it's a very convenient size, as I said, for taking on planes and putting in various places like under tables or in chairs. So you're going to want to put as much as you can into this if you're traveling to a convention, because overpacking is something that pretty much everybody does. You either underpack or you overpack. And in this case, I wanted to have everything, all my prototypes on hand. If I'd been picking and choosing, I could have used a smaller container and wouldn't have needed something like this anyway. If I had a whole bunch of games I wanted to share with people, putting it in something like this would also, I'd want to get as many of those in as I could. Why not use all of the space I have allotted to me? But the weight added up over time, and carrying it with just a briefcase handle got to be really painful. So as I said, like anytime there was a long walk, I found myself trying to find somebody I could leave it with, or some place that I could stash it until I could come back for it. Didn't want to take this on any long excursions anywhere. So that's the one drawback that I found with using this as your primary prototype container. However, over the course of the convention, I did find one solution, and not everybody's going to have this solution available. I bought a game, in this case from Eagle Games, and I got this handy-dandy little bag. This handy-dandy little bag fits around my BitBox Mobile like a glove. As you can see, like it literally fits exactly to the edges. And it has a shoulder strap. This became my savior. It doesn't add any additional size to the bag, or to the BitBox. It fits like a glove, so it doesn't defeat any of the benefits that it has. It'll still fit in overhead bins. It'll still fit under a seat. No problem. But now it's got a shoulder strap, which is much more convenient for me. Made a huge difference for me on longer walks. Having a shoulder strap let me distribute the weight better, and it was no longer just, briefcase style, hope my arms hold out while I switch back and forth. It also meant I had both hands free suddenly, which is really useful when you are juggling a phone and an driver's license in an airport, or when you're trying to manage multiple things at once, or you're eating on the go, or drinking something on the go. Like, I tried to stay, I lost my voice about partway through the con and needed to start staying hydrated, so one hand was pretty much always on a bottle of water, which meant that if one hand had been on my BitBox the whole time, I would have had no hands to do anything else. So finding this was a godsend. So I don't know the exact measurements of it, of this particular bag, but I know that it's a fairly standard bag size that you can find somewhere else. You don't have to get a branded Eagle Games bag. You don't have to go seek them out at conventions. Although I could give you some recommendations of some games of theirs that you could get if you would like a bag like this. Sleuth, Xenon Profiteer, Rococo. I'll stop. Anyway, this was my savior and fixed the only problem I had with the BitBox the whole time I was at the convention. From the moment I had that bag onward, it wasn't a problem. I didn't mind carrying it around because the weight was distributed better. This bag could have a bigger strap on it, so that I could put it over my head instead of just over the one shoulder on the side that I'm carrying it on. That would have helped even more, but beggars can't really be choosers, and in this case, it was exactly what I needed when I needed it. So yeah, BitBox is a prototype carrying solution. I think it gets a thumbs up. It has all of the storage space you could ever want. It's very durable. It's easy to swap things in and out of it based on what you want to bring and what you don't want to bring. It has plenty of room for all of your additional sell sheets and other items, marketing type stuff, in addition to your actual games themselves. Works well on flights as a carry-on item. Wouldn't advise checking it simply because you can't keep it closed or guarantee that the airlines will keep it closed, more importantly. But as a carry-on item, fantastic. So yeah, that's what my experience with using the BitBox Mobile at a convention was. Let me know if you guys like these kinds of videos wherein I talk about some of the solutions that I use as a game designer for the things that aren't game design, and we'll talk about that in the future. Anyway, Bearded Rogue signing out.